Welcome back to the My Pro Golfer channel. Jeremy Franks coming to you here from the range at Summerfield Crossings Golf Club. And today we got a special treat for all of you high handicappers and low handicappers, how to use alignment rods to plan your way around the golf course to make sure you're successful each and every shot. So as you know, as friends of the channel, one of the things that I really focus on is playing like a tour player. And I always talk about the tour player because those are the best people in the world that do it. Us teaching pros that enjoy golf and love to play golf and do hit quality shots are only here because we have not been successful out there. We're either physically limited or just weren't able to pull off the shots we know we should when you have it. And so one of the things that you know I'm doing is trying to get my game to the level of getting back to be on tour. And so I'm here to help you today train like I'm training to be able to hit the quality shots that I want to hit to make me successful enough to drop from my 74 stroke average down to sub 70.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. Here at My Pro Golfer, you know we like to keep things simple. And today, I've got a special gift for you to help you never miss a 5-foot putt again. Click the link below and download today.
All right, so let's start with you high handicappers. The high handicapper has the much easier opportunity to get better at golf because they have such a range of shots. And so let's say you're a high handicapper and you're averaging 8 on a hole. Well, a lot of that's based on your alignment and where you're actually aiming and how your swing is affected by that alignment. So you're gonna have a natural shot shape. Everybody has one. So my body here is set up on my alignment rod, and I've got one rod directly on my target line on the back and one rod directly on my target on the front, and then this foot rod to indicate that my feet are parallel to that line. A lot of you will get better if you just hit balls with these three lines in place. It's going to clarify to your mind, and a lot of people that I teach, they'll first get up to these lines and be like, that can't be right. They'll come back here, they'll look down their target lines and be shocked that that's where their line is. So right off the bat, your swing has been adjusted based on your alignment. And so what I want to do is make sure that you're practicing, you high handicappers, from a spot that is guaranteed to be accurate so that your eyes can get comfortable with what you're looking at on the golf course. It is absolutely essential, you high handicappers, to know where you're starting the ball so that your shot shape can be more and more consistent. All right, let's jump into some scratch player conversations. And you high handicappers can learn from this too, but if you look at these two clubs, I've got an 8-iron here and I've got a driver here. I'm significantly going to look different based on the length of club. So sand wedge, I'm about here, and if I look down my target line, that's going to look a lot different than if I get out here with my driver. Now that same flag is way right from where I was from my 7-iron. So for you high handicappers, this is not necessarily as important as you scratch players because we're gonna start getting into shot shapes and how to manipulate the setup in order to hit the shots that you wanna hit. But for you scratch players, this is a good drill for you as well, at least this rod here, because you wanna really get a sense of how far your eyes need to change based on your setup changes and your angles of your body positions based on your length of club. It's imperative that you know what your eyes are seeing and not being faked out by what you see day in and day out.
Hey, just want to remind you to not forget on getting your free gift below on how to never miss a 5-foot putt.
All right, so what is your shot shape? I'd love for you to comment below and tell me what kind of is a normal pattern for you. And what I want you to do is think a lot about when you're playing golf and you're hitting certain shots, where does the ball tend to go? And where it tends to go is what we call your natural shot shape. So in your transition of getting better at golf, it may change from time to time. You change grip, it's going to change. You change path, it's going to change. Change some angle of attack. My shot shape is pretty typically just a little cut. And I just have gotten used to seeing that. It makes me feel like I can play a little bit better, a little bit more consistent. And so I tend to hit a cut shot. But you're gonna wanna know it based on the alignment, because I don't want you to learn bad habits. I want you to set up good habit techniques in your practice to be able to hit the shot. So make sure you have your alignment rods down, at least one for your target line and one for your feet line. Get yourself, especially you high handicappers, get yourself to just make 3 or 4 swings and kind of track the shape of the ball. If it's a high hook or a low cut, I want you to write those things down so that I can take you through how to change the shot when the shot is required. Okay, for you scratch players, this is essential. We've got our target line, and that's the most important piece for you, is to know what your target line is. And let's say that you're trying to hit a draw into this spot. Well, the biggest and easiest way to hit a draw is to set that club down at your target line, get your feet to set up to a shut body line, and square your shoulders and your feet to that. And so you want to start getting the sense and the feel of what that looks like based on your alignment rods. So if I'm getting myself set up here, setting up square to my target line, I'm then going to swing right through the shot, and I've got that nice little draw happening, that manipulation. You're going to want to continue to do that on that process and play around with it. So let's say you just hit that little draw, you kind of know how far that goes with the wind, and you're saying to yourself, well, I want to try to hit a fade shot now. We're just going to open up that rod, making sure that the club face is still set to the body line. We're going to open the shoulders and the feet to that alignment left, and then we're going to make that same shot shape. And now that ball is going to cut back to our target line, which is really important. And you notice how we had this right to left wind. If you can see that ball, if you're on an iPad or something bigger, you'll see that ball tail into the wind, but then kind of stop as it's striking the wind and moving left. Getting this kind of information and remembering the wind shape and the different function, and maybe have a launch monitor down here for how far that ball's going. You'll notice when you're watching tour players get ready to play, they almost always have a foresight or a TrackMan or a full swing launch monitor, one of those 3 typically. All right, so to recap the difference between a high handicapper and a low handicapper for this particular shot and this particular function is you want to make sure that you know what you're capable of. So learning your shots, getting a good variance, hitting 10 shots to one particular place with one particular club, and kind of measuring that this is sort of the norm for me is an essential piece. Do that for your entire golf bag, or at least the middle of it, and kind of get a sense of this is what's typical. Learn what your alignment looks like, and then play to those shot shapes as a high handicap player. For you scratch players out there, I really want you to focus on really training yourself to hit shots. One of the most interesting things that I've read is watching Tiger with that 9-window hole and being able to hit the low cut, the low straight, the low draw, and then mid, same, and high draw cut, and being able to hit those shots. He doesn't hit balls, he practices those shots, and he gets better and better each and every year on that function. If his body had held up, he'd have been the best player by a long shot of all time. So if you can just kind of train yourself to think more like him as a scratch player, and as a high handicap player, learn to get to that phase, but also just know your limitations and try to play the golf course based on what your numbers are and how to hit the shot shape, but play the shape based on the wind. So if it's a lot of right to left wind and you're a fader, you got to aim that ball quite a bit more left than you're used to doing. And if you're fading it into the wind, you got to make sure that you don't aim that ball at any trouble. So keep that in mind when you're playing. If this video was helpful for you, like it. If it was helpful, subscribe. If you want more information or how to get even better at this game, comment below. I reach out to each and every one of you each and every week that you comment. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next Thursday at 6 o'clock.